Yeah. Yeah.
All right, what's up, Brew Crew? Welcome back to the Sunday Snake Chat. I've got Adam from Proper Royals over here. And like we do every show, we're going to shout out the chat. So what's up, Ozak? Eric's Morph Factory, welcome. Kenneth Evans, welcome. Brian from Amazing Feeders for You, welcome. Rudy from Moon Over Miami, welcome.
What's up, Moon?
John No H from Inquiline.
What's up, John? New logo, John.
Yeah, I see that too. We got Mark from 403 Fauna. We got Nicole from Lady Tiz Exotics. Congratulations on hitting your 1K subscribers. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We got Morbid Retics, who's interested in buying one of my hatchlings, if not the sire. So that's cool. Yeah, smash that like button. Okay, we got Casey from GCG Reptiles, and the chat is moving faster than I can keep up with. We got Gage from Clown Scientist. We got Jeremy Warfel in the house. And Patrick from Mako Morph. All right, so that covers everybody that's in there. If I missed you, I'm sorry. The chat was flying. Is what it is. So, Adam, I know we share a bunch of common subscribers, and this might be old news for people, but it's a question I ask every show. Give a brief introduction about yourself. How long you've been keeping reptiles? How long you've been in the hobby?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't ever take for granted the opportunity to introduce myself and either reach new people or reach people that we already know, because it is a small community, but I already see even in the chat tonight there's people I don't recognize. So anyhow, my name's Adam, and I have a channel called Proper Royals on YouTube primarily. It is on Instagram and Facebook, and it's sort of the story of my family building a ball python business, and that's me. I'll be starting my third breeding season that I've ever done. In a couple weeks, mid-October, I'll start pairing. So it's kind of where I am. I'm definitely one of the COVID pandemic people that jumped in.
Yeah,
that
same here.
So kind of that same story. It's almost a cliche. I saw a banana ball python. I bought it, and now I have 90. And so we're kind of going now. Anyhow, I hope people will check out my channel. It's a cool community. That's probably what I love the most about it, and totally like open book. I'll share successes, failures. I actually share a lot of my finances and spreadsheets and that kind of thing. Anyhow, like I say, it's just a journey that we're on to become a viable ball python business. So, shameless plug, a bunch of hatchlings up on Morph Market right now and more to come. I do have a store there, and I'd love to have you follow me there just so you can keep up with what I got going on. So that's it. But I'm just one of the local geeks that hang out on these ball python forums,
Oh yeah. I mean, definitely I upgraded during the pandemic. I had a nice little 3-tub rack, and I didn't expand exponentially, but now there's 22, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, I definitely added a bunch, then revisited the project. So yeah. So while we're in the beginning of this, we're going to talk about some social media tips and tricks before we get into the meat of the interview, which is all ball python related. So Adam, what do you use to make your YouTube videos?
Yeah, I use it was funny because so first off, I'm thrown off tonight. You and I have talked a lot about like kind of joking about where the heads get put. So my camera's over here, but my TV's here, and your face is here. So like the farther I look like I'm not paying attention, the more dialed into you I am. And it's always been a little bit of a joke that on my show I put my face where your face is, because it looks like then I'm engaged with the guest even when I'm looking over here. So
so that's the reasoning for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I put it over there because then it looks like I'm looking towards you rather than like
Gotcha.
right now off into space. Oh, and then the comments are even further over.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So I put myself over here on, so the comments are just covering me, and my guest gets center stage.
oh yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
So I figure that's a nice nod to the guest. They're center stage on my show. It's not all about me.
Well, and also though it's your house, man. You get to make the rules. You could take it upside down if you want. So now I use let's see. So the software I use is Apple software. It's just iMovie that I use to make my YouTube videos. The camera that I use is a Canon Mark II. It's not cheap, but my buddy described it before I bought it to me as the very best camera for the very dumbest person. And I was like, that is what I need because I know nothing about cameras. Right. And I love this thing. It's total, like, set it, forget it. I'm sure that there's something that I don't know about it or lots that I don't know about it that I'm not maximizing. But, like, I turn it on and it just deals with it. Like, it's nice and clear. Anyhow, I use that. And then I use Canva for my thumbnails and some of some of my intro graphics are Canva as well, but most of that was iMovie, and I think that's it. I just got I just became an Apple iPhone dude, and that's a 13, not a 14, but that camera is primo. So actually, I got a video that'll go live either tonight or tomorrow before the show on Tuesday. That I was recording kind of in stereo. I was showing off some snakes. So I had one camera on my face, and then I could use the iPhone. The iPhone was on my face, and the Canon was on the snakes, and that was kind of nice to be able to do too.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure that. Like that's what I wanted to do for this clutch cutting, where you see me reacting, and then you see what I'm doing, and of course my language during it was awful, so I had to do a voiceover. I got a little too excited.
Right.
Not hitting any normals.
Yeah, well, we're all susceptible to that. Yeah, I want to be able to do that. Actually, I've got one more clutch coming this year, and it's going to hatch this week. I think I'm going to do that in iMovie. I like because it lets you do a picture-in-picture, so like you can run commentary on the snake eggs at the same time. So I'm gonna
that might be the way I do it the next time. Even so, if, when I'm filming the initial egg cutting, it's bad. I can still talk over it, and you see my face instead of me.
Yeah.
Well, here's how I felt at this moment when I was cutting this egg.
When it gets awkwardly quiet, or you hear me jump in, just know that was a moment of high emotion right there.
Yeah, no, it was pretty monotonous during that. But yeah, I use iMovie. I use Canva. I have a couple other, like a flyer maker, and then there's one I can make PNGs. Magic Eraser is the app. So when you send me your logo, I just clicked on the white part and it made the PNG for me.
And that is a feature that's integrated now into Canva as well. So you don't need a separate app if anybody's looking for that. And then what did you use for your intro? I like your intro.
Canva.
You do use Canva on that. That's
cool. So I took one of the pre-made ones and added my own. But
you know what? It's really great if anybody in the audience is considering this. Canva to me was a leap forward because all the other places that had templates, they're kind of fixed templates. Canva, you could say there's a shooting star that goes across it. If you don't like the shooting star, but you like the volcano, you can get rid of the shooting star. And then if another intro has a unicorn, you can cut and paste the unicorn from that template into the one. So, I mean, suddenly like you have a chance to make everything unique rather than feeling like, wait a minute, this dude's got the very same intro I have because we're using the same software,
Yeah, definitely. One of the things and I want to look into it more is getting more experience with Canva because I've just been taking my content and like, okay, here's my hashtags, my tag lines, here's the pictures, that sort of thing, and making it like a nice 20-second intro that I can use all the time. I also use it for the intro to my videos,
right?
And I've been using the same too, and it's nice, but at the same time, it's like, well, could I do it better? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, I feel like I need to. It's on my list. Like, all right, Adam, it's time for another. Like the one I have, I like the music on it. I'm probably gonna. That's sort of become like part of my brand. So I like the music on it, but I feel like the images. I need a refresh on the images, so to speak, which is kind of cool. I mean, it means I've been at it long enough for something to get a little tired. You know, that's cool.
Definitely. I mean, I know I go back and looking on some of my first videos, and now I've only been at it for I don't know, a couple months.
Yeah.
Some of those first, I was like, what? Why did I post that way?
You know, though, I think that's great though, because how we get better is doing it. Like you and I, we're both into music. We both play music. There was this beautiful quote from Dave Grohl. Like, forget it if you're into the Foo Fighters or not. Just roll with me that Dave Grohl is good for rock and roll. Okay, and I firmly believe that. I think I could name 4 Foo Fighters songs if I had to, kind of thing. So I'm not a nut for him. But there was this interview where somebody was like, you know, what do you think of American Idol or something? And he goes, basically, that's not how it's done. You're supposed to try and make a chord and not be able to, and you got to work at it. And then you're supposed to have a band and you're going to suck for a little bit. But then one day, like, you're good for just a minute. And then you want that minute to turn into 5 minutes. And then you get the guts to go, like, perform at an open mic. And suddenly you just grab just a little bit of how good that feels when you nail it. And you're terrified because they're all strangers and they don't care if they're nice to you or not. And then you go pursue that. And that's how I feel about, like, jumping in on social media. We all second guess ourselves. We all go, this is, like we were talking beforehand. We're like, is the lighting right? We wish it was this way. We want to tweak something, you know, should I look like this or should I look like this? You know, like we work all these little millions of things out to get where we're at right now. And a year from now, we'll look back and we'll do the same thing and go, man, we're so much better. You know, it's evolution, man.
Yeah. So what I've been doing when I film my videos is I have about 10 seconds before I even say anything in case I'm doing something stupid with my hands, or, you know, you can see me clicking the remote for the camera.
Yeah.
So I can edit that and it makes the transition smoother, I've noticed. Where before, you know, I just click the button and then start talking and it's like, well, now, you know, do I lose something in that transition? So, you know, it's a learning curve. It definitely takes a lot of work. And you can't just put the camera on and, like, all right, I'm going to make a great video that's going to get, you know.
It's not going to be perfect. It's okay if it sucks. You're going to first people are forgiving. Second, we're all human. So, like, it's endearing to people anyway. And then you can just get better at it. Like I couldn't give a tutorial to somebody and be like, hey, leave yourself half a second of breathing room in between segments so you can edit it out. Like that, you just have to learn that on your own. Like that, you know, nobody's gonna follow that anyhow, even if you make that like a section subtopic, like paragraph 3, we're gonna focus on this breathing room. No, you just have to do it and find your own rhythm, you know.
So I mean, I think we touched on the next question, you know, advice for people starting, you know, your channel. Fumble through everything. Make sure you have a nice thumbnail.
Thumbnails matter,
and a nice title. Yeah, you get clickbaity through that. I did that with one of my more recent videos about a ball python pickup, and then something scary, which was a tarantula I picked up at the show, but it's gotten a lot of views.
That's the thing. You, I would say like your content and your care and your passion has to be good and authentic. Just be authentic. Like if it's authentic, it'll translate, I think. YouTube, for all the cursing that people do of the algorithm, YouTube's job is to connect people and keep them engaged. That's how they sell advertising time. And they're very, very good at it. If you're not authentic, though, they don't. That works against the algorithm. It's going to pair you up with people that are going to see through your fakeness. If you're authentic, it'll find people for you. Like I tend to get a little bit nerdy. I do these crazy deep dives on like rabbit hole topics. And even when I'm in them, I'm like, who's going to watch this? And then suddenly one day I have, I'm coming up on 1,700 subscribers, and I'm like, I can't believe there's 1,700 people in this world that want to get this nerdy, and it's okay. So YouTube will find the people if you're authentic, and then, like I say, you'll and you're saying, like, you'll grow, you'll learn. It's a million little things along the way that make you better.
Oh, I mean, definitely. Like, just when I first started, it was okay. Here's this video. Here's a thumbnail from the video. Post it. I gotta get this out there, and then I'm like, in hindsight, it's like, why? Yeah. It does take a little time, but again, that's something that you learned. Like, you had to go through that process to learn it, to get better. So I do. I put a lot of work into the thumbnails. I put a lot of work into the title and the topics. I actually, a lot of people roll their eyes at it, but it works for me. I use, I subscribe to the TubeBuddy app. Yeah, so I use that as well.
Yeah, TubeBuddy's a tool that it's not gonna give you followers or views, but it's going to give you feedback on what your topic is, and then encourage you to say, maybe you want to make a topic on the ball python community. So you type in ball python community, and it'll give you a rating of what people who watch your videos are looking at, and it'll say, that's pretty good. Then you might say, building a ball python community, building a online ball python community, and it's going to give you, it's not going to give you the words, but it's going to give you feedback to keep trying, and then suddenly you're going to get a green light where it's like, poof, this is going to relate to your people, and that way it avoids like the clickbaity stuff, but it still targets what your people are after. Right. And it does. Oh, by the way, if it doesn't work fast, it's a long-term snowball effect that I have come to believe in. I paid for it a year at a time. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't. I'm not a patient guy, so as a fault, like I don't say that pridefully, like, but I probably would have quit it. But now I renewed this year, and I'm also sort of a cheap dude, so like I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean, the insights there definitely help. It tells you whether or not your hashtags are actually doing something.
Mm-hmm.
You should add these ones. And for me, for some reason, it's always Brian Barczyk is one that's always suggested.
Drives me nuts, man. I use, I do kind of subscribe to and this is selfish, if it's not advertising me or somebody I want to advertise, like if I were to make a short of a video clip of the show tonight, of course I would tag you in it, and I would put craft brew morphology in the hashtag. But just to put like a snake breeder's name in it, it's building their brand more than mine, is my feeling. I could be wrong. I don't know all the ins and outs of SEO, but that's how I feel like,
So one of the things I started to do is have my guests in the title. So that way, if they search for you, they might get my video.
Right. And that makes sense because we're tied together in this video.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know if that's actually worked. It really depends on who I have on. I haven't seen a noticeable difference in any one video that I've done so far.
Yeah.
They generally, 100 some odd views. It depends how well the interview goes, and it depends how, if I have a guest on that, like, you wouldn't expect me to have on, like when I had Brian Gundy on, I mean, that's a big name for me. That was like,
right.
Wow, I'm talking to a guy that, has been doing this since before I was born.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how, everything works. Each little, you subtract something out from a title and it gets more views.
Right. Yeah. That's interesting that way. But I'll say overall, it's a slow build. Like, we all hear of the viral video and the person blowing up and they got 2 million. That's crap. I mean, it's what's the expression? The man bites dog story. It's the 1 out of the million that you hear about. The rest of us, it's a slow build. November will be 2 years for me on YouTube, and I'm happy with where I'm at, but like I say, I'm coming up on 1,700 subscribers. It's not like I have many thousands, but I sell snakes through YouTube. It's part of the brand. I've met people. The resources and the community I get to be part of is phenomenal. And some of the money is actually starting to be okay from YouTube revenue too. It's not. Don't get look. I'll be totally transparent. If you've seen my show, a good day for me is $3 or $4 that I make on YouTube, which obviously isn't worth a huge focus on. On the other hand, it's $1,200. Yeah, it's $1,200 a year. It's more than I was making. At $1,200 a year, that's about a third of what I spend on rats in a year. So I'm cutting into that expense in my business, and that's only at $1,700. So there's opportunity, Did you get a text?
So that is Kevin from 4S's. It keeps on getting confused by what's behind me.
Yeah.
Let me put myself up. So there is a hole in the wall where I drilled a lighting fixture for this tank when it was over here, and I went into the wall. So that's where it is, Kevin. Went straight through the PVC, almost into the neighbors. So
sweet. Hey Ken, where are you? Where are you at? I don't know. I don't think I know.
I am in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Like the Billy Joel song.
Yeah. I know that. I am familiar with that. Yeah, I don't think I knew that. I don't know where I thought you were, but it wasn't there. So I guess we just haven't covered that before.
Yeah, I usually just say Lehigh Valley. So I'm in between like Philly, New York.
Yeah.
Like
right
in the Northeast. I can get there pretty quickly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Phil does live pretty close to where I'm at, as does Jeremy, Nathan.
Yeah. Charlie from Reagan Renee's right in that area too, huh?
Yeah, we're all within an hour, 2 hours from each other. So I mean, it's been nice to get to meet these guys at various shows and the barbecue.
Yeah, that's a cool scene you guys got there. Oh, I just this week hung out with Chris from BNS Reptilia. He was down because he was down here, not because I was up there.
Yeah, and you were with Terrence from Keys Constrictors.
Yeah, it was a really cool night. I was going to I'll cover it again on my show, but it's funny because at the shows is really cool to see everybody, but there's like a lot of people, like it's a whole lot of, dude, what's up? How's it going? This is great. This is great. To sit down and just have dinner with the three of us and beers was really cool.
Have it be a little quiet instead.
There wasn't
the show.
Yeah, there wasn't the interruptions. It wasn't the I got to see 900 other booths and Daytona. There's 100 breeders you're trying to catch up with. So. It was really, really cool to catch up with them. And they're good dudes. Like it's just they're just that genuine. Like they're just that good, man. They're as good as they come across.
Oh yeah, I mean I was very happy to. I think actually Phil was subscribed to me on one of my shows. He commented, and that's how I linked up to your.
Oh, cool.
He said, "Hey, Adam's going live at 8," and I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'll go. Send everybody over there, and then we'll check him out." And
I'm from a very, very early point in my channel. I'll probably embarrass Phil, but from a very, very early point in my channel, Phil was an early subscriber, comment, supporting, and as I've gotten to know Phil, he is light years ahead of me, man. I'm like, dude, I don't. That's where I get a lot of fulfillment, but I haven't also quite figured out. Like, I get this imposter syndrome, where you're like, man, these dudes that know like way more than me and have accomplished a lot more, and they're really good people. They don't owe me. I'm not paying them. Like, it's just, I don't know. Anyway, Phil has always, in a very good way, made me feel that way, and he's been very, very supportive. And plus, he's a ripping guitarist, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to spend a whole lot of money converting maybe even my whole house to solar. Man, his solar plan, guys, if you're not following Phil, Finger Lakes BP, check out his solar powered facility. He's running it all on solar, and it stores backup battery. Like this hurricane coming for me would be no problem for Phil. He'd be stocked up, ready to go.
Yeah. I actually saw your post on Instagram about that, and like that's something here we don't necessarily really have to worry about. I mean, it's maybe a once every couple of years storm where we would lose power.
Right.
Long. Now, granted, I live on the outskirts of of the third or fourth biggest city in the state of Pennsylvania, so
Yeah.
It's not like I'm up in the Poconos where if a tree falls down, I'm screwed. That happened to my buddy Brad a couple years ago. We got a bad snow. Trees took down power lines. They were out of power for like 10 days, and he lost a bunch of ball pythons because of that.
Man. I lived so like everywhere's got its thing, Mark's got the earthquakes. When I lived in North Carolina, it was a similar thing like you're talking about. I lived in a really, really rural part of North Carolina. We were out of power 4 or 5 days. And at that point I wasn't into ball pythons, but I had like 250 gallons of fish, man. And we were just I was losing my cichlids left and right, man. It was horrible to sit there and watch, and you couldn't do anything. You could only blow so many bubbles into it, and then the heaters were out. So I mean, you gotta figure it out. But that storm is why I bought the generator that I have now, and it's funny. I've got a generator kit. I haven't had to open it. I haven't fired that generator up in 2 years, but it went great today, and we're ready. We're in good shape, and I have a much smaller house now than I did in North Carolina. So like, even I was laughing with my wife, like all the extension cords are overkill. I was like, man, we could probably run the whole house actually.
Jeremy brings up a good point. So, Adam, Shady Maple is this all-you-can-eat buffet thing out in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
The smorgasbord.
Oh my God! Every time I've been there, I've been grossed out. But the last time we did it, it was opening day of trout for me, so I went out fishing. Instead of going to hang out with these guys. But hopefully, it doesn't line up that way. This year or next year, and I can go see them. So,
do you fly fish? Is that the fly season, or what is the rivers there?
I fly fish, but mainly it's just spin reel.
Okay.
So it's like in Pennsylvania, it's like opening day of trout and opening day of deer. It's like
that's how
it's a holiday, more or less.
No, that's how it was in North Carolina, and I'm at peace with moving away from North Carolina. I loved it, but where I'm at in Florida is a better fit for me. But I miss my days off on the river. Like there's a calm and a peace out in the middle of a river fly fishing that for a guy that doesn't sit still very well, and I got to have something to play with and trinket, fiddle with in my fingers. Like being in the rivers is just. Man, I miss it, and I miss it, and the trout are nice too once you get them, But I love it.
There's something nice about like I go by myself. I text somebody, "Hey, here's where I'm going," and
exactly
middle of nowhere. Like I'm not going to have service, so if you don't hear from me by tonight, send people to this pin.
Right, come find me. But otherwise, you ain't going to get me.
And it's just something, I don't know. I can put all this.
Yep.
Aside, put work and everything else in my life aside, and just it's me and the stream, and I'm fishing.
I get almost hypnotized by the sound of the river and the ultra focus that anyway, I don't want to I could talk for hours about fly fishing. I love it. I miss it. If I make it up there next summer, I got to get out on a river and get a fly wet.
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's plenty of places. There's we call them Class A trout streams up here where it's catch and release. What's up, Mike? Patrick says, somebody say fishing. Of course we did. Patrick got a boat, so I'm sure he could probably take you out. You guys aren't too far apart.
I know. I gotta go. He lives in town here. Like Patrick and I have got to get together. I felt like a bum. I know that he and Terrence are good buddies. I figured that Terry knew that for some reason that he couldn't make it or something, and then of course T went live on Instagram because that's his life, and I would say that to his face lovingly. That's his life. And Patrick was like, "What happened? You guys get together and didn't invite me?" And I was like, "Oh no, I assumed T had got you." And Terrence was like, "Anyway." So yeah, me and Patrick got to get together. We got to do some A. We got to do some fishing. B. We got to do some cooking.
Oh,
C. We can put some wine together with it too, man.
Man, that would be. I've seen some of the stuff he makes, because every so often he does it like a live, or like he's at work, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I saw his clams the other night, and I mean literally the clams he was sautéing in probably a white wine butter sauce, so it was pretty solid.
But yeah, so now we've segged over to food. We can actually, I can actually answer or ask the next question. So what qualities from you working in the food industry and the music industry have you been able to channel back over, your ball python keeping?
Oh, neat. Most of it's on the business end. So like, this is really kind of dry, boring stuff. But in food and beverage, your margins are so slim. Yeah, you like that? That's a little fun there. Yeah, I'm gonna thank the wine for that slip up. Your margins are so slim, and you really have to be just like crazy neurotic about costs and really consider everything that you purchase and how you're going to sell it and how you're going to price it. And in food and beverage, things are perishable, so it's not just you buy a whole bunch of inventory and you're stuck with the inventory. Even worse than being stuck with inventory is the inventory spoils. And so anyhow, some of my purchasing practices and how I spend my money from a restaurant standpoint, that's just ingrained in me. It's just how I am. And it's done me pretty well. It limits me a little bit. I probably should have invested a little bit more into the business at this point, but maybe not. We're all on our own journey. And then Patrick, that's I guess your handle is Living Oddities TV on YouTube. I know you as a different name.
It's Gross and Balls 2.0.
Gross and Balls, yeah. The 40 to 140. That actually translates a lot. Those of y'all that don't know it, that's known as the food temperature danger zone. So from 40 degrees to 140 degrees, bacteria thrives in. And obviously, our snakes have to thrive within that 40 to 140 degrees. But food safety, keeping bacteria at a minimum, sanitizing, minimizing cross-contamination, those sorts of things, I use a lot. Even when I thaw my rats, you're not supposed to be in the food temperature danger zone for more than 4 hours. So when I thaw my rats, I thaw them under refrigeration for a day. And then I'll pull them into the room. So I put them in the room just before I went live with you tonight, and I'll have them fed before 4 hours goes by.
That's something I never thought of. I mean, the rats and snakes, I just got to get them up to, whatever that proper temperature is. But I never thought of, doing it the same way that I would prepare food.
I tell you, I'm sorry, I get excited about it if I cut you off there. Like
fine.
I treat my facility like it's my kitchen. I swear I do. And I know it's an easy cliche to say, but it's those of y'all that don't know me, I wear a chef coat like some costume, but I mean, I work it, it's a reminder of myself, where I came from and what I respect and what's worked well for me. But the last thing too, from both music and food and beverage, is again, being yourself and being authentic. Like, I led really big teams, and teams that don't believe or that think that their leader is full of it and is not authentic, they got no concern for. Same thing with a band on stage. Like, what's the worst thing in music to be called? A poser? Like, you got to be yourself. You got to, it gets thrown around too much, but be yourself, be authentic. That's what it's going to be,
Yeah. I mean, from a music standpoint, I knew plenty of kids. So I grew up in a somewhat affluent area. I knew plenty of kids that, I want to play guitar, and they have a couple $1,000 setup just to,
right.
It's like, you can barely play a chord. Come on.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
So, and me, I had to, convince my parents that this is, a hobby that I wanted to be a part of, along with, allowing me to have snakes and reptile, all sorts of other stuff. So it was just like, you know, I was 24, I think, when I bought my first guitar. That was, I got a good one. And it's a Martin DCPA 4.
That is
same
nice
model that the late Chris Cornell played. So he didn't have a custom shop Martin. He played the DCPA 4. So that's what I got. It works. It's got a cutaway. So I mean, it's nice. I can
get up.
But just seeing people that could jump in early with nice stuff.
Yeah,
and not be the best at it. I don't know. It was just weird for me to, work through that musically. It's like, well, you got all this nice stuff. I want to play it, but I got this, busted, Taylor, that I had to glue together type of thing, or this Squire.
The difference between the crappiest guitar and the nicest one money can buy is not that far. Like Jerry Garcia had a great quote. He said, man, tone and sound starts in your fingers. He goes, I could play a Gibson, I could play a Stratocaster, I could play a Telecaster, I could play my custom-made guitars. They all sound like Jerry Garcia playing that guitar.
Yeah.
And those of y'all that don't play music, you got to realize the whole industry is built on a Gibson sound, a Fender sound, a Martin sound. At the end of the day, it's in you. It's in the musician. It's in the person, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Derek Trucks can take any guitar I have here, and we could kick the amp in so the speaker's busted, and he can make that sound good.
He could plug in a broomstick and make it sound really, really good.
Right. But yeah, we've been discussing, there's a bunch of things that we can take from music and food and move it over to ball pythons, especially with like husbandry and being meticulous about records and things like that. So. All right. So before we get into the second half of this, where it's mainly ball pythons that we're going to be talking about, how on earth do you make time for all of this?
Yeah, I don't relax very well, and it's sort of I think that comes from food and beverage. So those of you that don't know me, about a year and a half ago, I basically just raised my hand and I said, I've had enough. 25 years in food and beverage, and I love it. And I love the people in it. And I still consult, and I work about 30 hours a week in consulting in food and beverage on average. But up until that point, I had done 10 to 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, nearly year round for a long, long time. And I just got to, my son is 10. I'm married. I'm happy. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to step back. And if I need to get back into it in another 8 or 10 years when my son is off to college, then I will. I'm 42. I got time. I'm relatively young man, not as young as everybody else. But so what ended up happening was this vacuum of antsiness. To this day, I really can't sit still long enough to watch a movie. A lot of people ask me about movies, and I'm just like, yeah, I never saw The Matrix. I don't know. I never saw Titanic. I got no idea. Don't know what you're talking about. So I like keeping going. I like business and entrepreneurial stuff. And now I have I'm just totally blown away that maybe I can make some revenue and some money learning new things. And, I get to play more gigs now. So I have Friday nights to play gigs rather than one Friday night a year that I would have off in the restaurant. So I'm taking a stab at some different things, and man, I'm just fulfilled by it. And it's when you're fulfilled by stuff, it's easier to get up and go do it every day. And I haven't lost the passion for food and beverage, but I get obsessive and really almost addictive in my behavior. So I love food and beverage. But I'll be right back. If I took an F&B job right now, I'd be back to 55, 60 hours because I would just work at it until it was just perfect. I know me. That's what I would do. So it's probably, and all that's probably not healthy. I don't recommend that. But that's how you say, how do you make time for it all? I enjoy it. I've got a loving wife and a supportive family. And, I don't I don't really screw around though either. I don't waste 5 hours a night at a bar. Like if I'm at a bar for 5 hours, I'm
You're
playing
playing music.
Yeah, I'm making money, So that's me.
Yeah. I mean, I just see a lot of people where they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other things on top of just the breeding.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you? I mean, I work a 9 to 5. I manage 50 some odd animals.
Yeah.
And a dog. And I'm at times I'm exhausted.
Part of it, I will admit, part of it is that the consulting, just about everything I do is from home. So I shouldn't say this, but when other people are taking smoke breaks, I can check usually I check my tubs in batches of like 30%. So I'll check a third of the tubs on the first break time. I'll check the others, and then I'll know what my cleaning is. The second I clock out of work or finish up with the client, boom, I can be cleaning. I don't have the commute times and that stuff. So a lot of it's that, and I can do stuff in the morning. I don't, I could slap on a coat and have, shorts on or whatever. I don't have to get dressed in iron clothes and be in a suit all the time anymore. All those little things I can put to use in other places.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely. For me, it's I roll out of bed, make sure the rats have water and food, and then off to work.
Yeah.
Come back, check snakes, and then see what the next day. I have a bunch of lizards and tortoises, so they have to eat more often than ball pythons.
Yeah, and you got prep for them, right? Like food prep for them, huh?
Yeah. So generally, some greens, peppers, things like that.
Right.
So they get that every couple days, and then twice a week or so they get insects, and some of the bigger ones get a if I have like a rat pup that didn't make it, something that's right within that threshold before it's like too dead. I will feed that off to the skink or one of the bearded dragons. So I mean, I try to have zero waste, from my rats and from my the produce that I have that I eat myself. So every little bit of the end of a romaine lettuce goes in with the tortoise.
Yep.
So I try to use them as my garbage disposals. I have dubia roaches, so pretty much any food waste
can go in there and feed them. Yeah.
And then they in turn feed my animals. So yeah.
And that's a kitchen mindset too. Like trimmings, it's a little bit gross, but not gross, but true and specific. Like trimmings of meat, we make stocks from. Trimming, the ends of the vegetables, we make a vegetable stock from, and then we can make soup bases or sauces out of those. So you find ways of bones. You cook down the bones so that you can get the marrows and make demi-glaze and all of that, and reduce that for fine sauces and all. So yeah, you try and that stuff you're talking about, that's the real deal on business and life as well. Do you breed your own rats?
I do, and I know that you do not, and we'll skip to that one because we're talking about it right now.
Okay.
Are you ever going to breed your own rats?
No, I don't think I will. Part of it is I have a pretty severe allergy to rats. So I say severe. I have a severe allergy to a ton of things. So maybe it's not severe, but not to over dramatize it, but them being in the house ain't gonna happen. And them being in a shed. I live in an HOA community right now, which is fine. It's cool. It's suburbia. It's what we needed for our son and all of that. And it's right at this time of life. I can't have a shed in the yard. I can't have an outbuilding. So it's not feasible here. But it also, to your point about, how do I fit everything in? I can do other things better than I can raise rats. And when I say better, make more money, but make more happiness. I could buy the very best rats money can buy, apparently, with, gig money. I'd rather be playing guitar than raising rat. If I'm going to raise rats or I'm going to play the guitar and buy rats, I'll go play guitar and buy rats,
But I mean, you have, Tradesmen and Exotics down by you that you're getting them from?
So I do a couple things. Tradesman, that's Tito, and he's awesome. I recommend, right up until the point where you would intrude on his inventory of what I need, definitely recommend Tito. I'm selfish now. Tito's cool. Tradesman Exotics. I have, like I said, around 90 snakes right now, but that's with the hatchlings this year. So really I have like 55 adults.
Mhm.
I've got about 10 of them that I haven't gotten onto frozen thawed. And I think I could over time, but I'm not going to wrestle with them and miss out on a breeding season. They want an ASF. So I buy ASFs from Tito. Then my rats are all frozen thawed. I don't feed any live rats. So all mine are frozen thawed. And I get those from Cold Blooded Cafe. I like
Okay.
Cold Blooded quite a lot. And you talk about the things that I learned in restaurants. Air in frozen bags leads to freezer burn. How quick and freshly things are frozen really matters. I know it sounds gross. If you stick your nose in, and I'm not partnered with Cold Blooded. They have never paid me a penny. I've asked them to pay me a penny. They won't advertise with me. So I truly am just a satisfied customer. If you open their bag and you stick your nose like you would into a glass of wine that you were smelling, they're the freshest, best frozen rats. I won't talk about other companies. We're not going to be disparaging.
Yeah, I've gotten some that where you could smell.
Right.
Ew. Like,
Yeah.
if you breed rats, you know what that smell is, and you should have cleaned 2 days ago if you're smelling that.
That's right. And I've never that I could think of. I'm sure somebody has, but in my experience, I've never been disappointed with Cold Blooded's product. Sometimes it's more expensive. Sometimes they run specials. But anyway, that's who I go with. So that's my rat program. I buy them frozen in bulk. They do. I've been noticing a consistency. I would say an issue. I mean, they're live animals and they got to fulfill the orders as they need them.
I mean, are we seeing shrinkflation there, where you might be getting a smaller medium or a smaller small than you would normally have gotten previously?
Maybe. I'll tell you right now, I'm having the opposite problem. All right. So talk about going down a rabbit hole and getting nerdy. On my feeding, my biggest snakes, I try and feed to any snake. I try and feed the biggest animal that it can take the least amount of times. So my biggest breeders, I actually feed medium rats to, and I'll feed them every other week. And then the males every 3 weeks. So it cuts down on my costs, cuts down on my cleaning, cuts down on my time that I have to cook the rats and thaw the rats and blah, blah, blah. Well, this last batch I got from Cold Blooded, the mediums are huge. I've actually pushed it. I gave all my snakes an extra week off that eat mediums, an extra week off, because these things are monstrous. And a couple of mine, I'm going to have to bump back down to smalls until I work through this stash of mediums that I got from them. So in that way, no, I think it's just that range of, is a large small, a small medium, is a small medium, a large, you know what I mean? Like where's the line and what batch do you get from that day?
Right.
I don't know. Everybody's feeling the squeeze. Maybe that day the owner was like,
we got to get rid of these ones.
Yeah, harvest them. Let's go. I don't know.
I mean, for me, I'm generally growing up ones to feed the breeders.
Yes.
So I'll grow up to that small, very big small size. And, I have grow outs that I'll replenish the colonies at a later date. So what I do is if I have one, now everybody takes, frozen thawed, right?
Okay, cool.
So I will cull.
Yep.
And, one by one, it takes a while. It's annoying. But, I'll go down. Okay, you ate. Okay, next one. So at the end of my day, when I'm feeding, if I have anything left over, it's going in the freezer.
Goes in the freezer, right?
If nobody takes anything, then, sometimes I just have to call and it goes in the freezer and, I have everything dated when I'm, when do I have to feed these by? And so I'll cycle them back in.
Yeah.
in between when I'm growing everything out. So there's a nice cycle, and if anybody goes off food for a week or two or whatever, they have that nice warm, fresh killed,
Fresh
fresh
one,
culled, so it can kickstart it. So I've noticed all my snakes have been eating better and growing more since I started breeding my own rats and having them here.
Yeah, I found, and Rob asked me a question. I'll get to Rob. I'll get in just a second. I found that the consistent system, whatever we do, they're creatures of habit and animal and patterns. So I feed every Sunday night. They know when we talked about showing snakes, and I said, well, I got to feed them tonight. So, and the rat's already in the room. Like, I'm not opening those tubs with my hands tonight. It's not going to happen.
Like I'm flying out at you.
Right. But I have become a believer in when they're settled in and there's a rhythm, they do really well. Most people say, I don't want to feed frozen thawed because it takes so much longer and you got to do this puppet dance. Not mine, man. I guarantee you, I open a tub right now, whether I got a rat in front of it or not, they're flying out looking for that rat. For me. So for me, it works. Rob asked how I thaw so many rats at one time. So that's another kitchen thing. Usually in a kitchen, one of the sous chefs or somebody that you trust, their job is called pull thaw, and frozen items that will be needed in 48 to 72 to 96 hours. It's their job to pull so that they can be thawed under refrigeration. That's the safest way to thaw, rather than, mom on Thanksgiving probably pulled the turkey out and set it on the freezer on the counter for 9 hours. It's not what you want to do, okay? Like, we also
my mom does that, and it irks me because I have my ServSafe and HACCP training.
Yeah.
When I worked at the food bank in the warehouse, so it's like, no, don't do that.
That's not what we do. We all lived, we all survived, we're fine, but from a commercial liability, best health standard, it's not good. So, Rob, the simple answer is on Saturday nights, I have actually a prep list, just like I would have used in the kitchen. It has all my snakes on one column. It has when they ate, and then I can look and see what they're going to eat, and I'll make my list of what I pull. And I have a fridge out here in the garage, an old fridge. I just bought a used fridge, stuck it in the garage, and the freezer is full of rats. And then I have actually smaller hefty tubs like Kent has behind him. I use those hefty tubs, and I will just put the frozen rats in there and stick that tub in the fridge. And then tonight, I've got one of the plug-in oil register heaters, and I'll just put the whole tub with the lid right on top of that heater for about 15 minutes and then temp them and I'll rotate them. But once they get up to about 107, 108 degrees, I start feeding.
So that brings up something I want to mention. So Charlie from Reagan Renee,
yeah,
he uses a rice cooker with the temp probe.
Oh, cool!
To bring his rats up to his frozen thawed up to temperature. So I always thought that was interesting. I gave him a hard time, but
Charlie, that is actually a brilliant idea. And Charlie's a lot. And Kai said hey earlier. I gotta say hey to Kai. Kai's been one of the, just from Lucas Land and Royals, one of the best dudes in the community to me. Both he and Charlie are two of the most analytical guys I've ever met. They're right up my alley. So I can imagine Charlie going, well, I'm going to use the probe from the rice cooker, and when that shows 103.5, that'll be ready to go, and we'll feed. So that's my kind of thing. I'll when Jeremy starts the show, I'll turn on the heat, I'll watch the first part of the show, and then I'll bop back and forth until everybody's fed tonight.
Yeah, I gotta feed the males. Unfortunately, I can't feed my hatchlings because they haven't shed yet.
Mm-hmm.
Still waiting for that. And it's like the perfect time because I have the right size prey.
Oh, yeah.
Right now. And it's like, I prefer to get them started on live.
Right.
Just to get that.
Yep. Get that instinct going. Yeah.
And then switch over because usually after, 1 or 2, 3 meals, everything's back on frozen thawed. So I don't have an issue, but unfortunately they're not ready, so they won't get fed tonight. The other 2 hatchlings I have that I purchased, they're even flying. So I've lucked out that the timing has worked out. So,
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to, speaking of hatchlings, you can show off what you have. I have to let the dog out.
Okay.
He's pawing at the door. Unfortunately,
this
is going to be the Adam takeover for.
Yeah. I got a couple cool ones I can show. So I'm gonna step up for just a minute. Take care of your dog, guys. Don't go anywhere in the audience, and I'll be right back with some steaks. Jeremy, I got and Mark's here. Mark was asking about these, and Jeremy is into Axanthics. So 1 second, let's check out some snakes real fast. All right, one more trip. Hang on a second. This is all impromptu, so you know. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out first and putting up with me as a guest. It's kind of nice to be a guest on the show. Check that out. A nice little pied that I got this year. The lighting might not be the best. I believe this to be an Orange Dream leopard, and he looks like he's had about enough of me. I think he's going to take a shot. But there are his saddles in the weird lighting. So I'm pretty happy with this guy. He's actually up on Morph Market. I'm not holding him back. The others I am holding back. But these next two are really cool. These came from a het-to-het pairing, a het Axanthic pairing to a het fire Axanthic pairing. And these are fire Axanthics. I'm so happy with these results. I'm not changing the pairing. And unless I come across some incredible expense that I just couldn't resist, and I need to fund it, these both will be staying with me. This is one's a male, one's a female. This is the female. And I'll show you the male here. Yeah, that was the female. This little male, he had a little trouble getting started eating. I assist fed him once, but then since then he's been on fire. He's totally cool. Sorry, my camera likes to focus on my eyes, so let me put him right in front of my eyes, and he should focus better. Maybe not. Really kind of messes with your head if you've not seen an Axanthic in person. When you put it, like you see your other snakes, and then you put the Axanthic out, and it's like looking at a black and white picture. It's really, really kind of nuts. I got one more clutch that's kind of cool too. I'll show you those as well. 1 second.
All right, sorry about that. Normally, Stella is good. Unfortunately, she found out the neighbor was outside, so that's why she wanted to go out.
All right, I got two more hatchlings. You missed the pied and the Axanthics, man.
I know. I just have to go watch your videos and see them.
Yeah, that's true. They are in the videos. Kevin, I did not say what line. That was a VPI, actually. I know that Jeremy's kind of into the TSKs, which of course are fantastic as well. I sort of maybe biasly, because I have a VP, like I'm already into the VPI project, so I mean I may as well find reasons to be happy with it, right? But check out Steve's morphs. He had, gosh, I showed one. I mean, this isn't even me shamelessly plugging a video. It's in a video from the Daytona show if you look on mine. But Steve's morph, Steve Casino, he had the most vivid, clean VPI Azanthics I've ever seen, man. I was at that point, I was like, look, there's just got to be excellence in all the lines because that thing was bonkers, man. It was great. All right,
It's all about keeping that like one snake that's vivid and the polymorphism going on, and then holding that one back, letting some of the lesser ones go to other people. So generally, while we're doing this snake show off stuff, I'll ask, what are you working with? What recessives? What you want to get into as well. So,
well, this let's see. I'll try and cover those bases. So as you saw, I was working with Pied and Azanthic. This is a Hypo Mojave.
Ooh.
And this one came out really, really. I mean, this whole clutch came out really, really nice. But as an added bonus, the whole clutch came out hypo. And
nice.
Yeah, I've got things that I wouldn't do now that I did in the past. I bought 2 breeder females in a Chick-fil-A parking lot in Columbia, South Carolina, and one of them has been a real gem of sort of mystery. Mark at 403 Fauna has one of the offspring from last year from that female, and this is another offspring from a banana female. And I think on banana that banana was sold to me as hypo, and I think to my untrained eye, and it's just a challenge to see hypo and banana, I think she must be visual. We got some really crazy offspring from her last year, and then this year, when I paired her to a visual hypo, all the babies came out hypo. So here's a banana Mojave hypo, and I've had enough banana babies now that this one looks different enough that I can see in person. I'm convinced this one's hypo as well.
It looks pretty purple, and the last 2 you showed, the alien heads look like guitar picks. So throwing it back to music.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they do. So anyway, I'm really happy with this clutch. I'm going to hold a couple of these back. This is a female banana Mojave hypo. She will not be. Kai, this is shed. This animal has shed, and she will not be a holdback. So she'll be available.
Wow.
I'm going to keep a couple of the just the Mojave ones. If you're asking why, hypo is hard. Like hypo is hard enough to identify for me on my own, and banana, it's a nightmare. I don't think I'll pursue the banana hypo project, but for somebody who wants to, like I say, this is a female from a female, and she's Mojave hypo, so she'll be available. She needs a few more meals, 2 or 3 more meals, but Kai, she is shed. That is a shed animal there.
I mean, hypo is one of those, you can get it right now, and it works great with DG. It works great with a lot of things. So you can get a, probably a breeder hypo for $500.
Oh, they're the steal of the deal in the market right now. And
hypo and G-stripe.
Oh yeah, I just made a video today, and actually I made a sort of a side comment in it where I said, like, I've been swearing, don't sleep on hypo. Like it all comes in cycles, man. And like a cheap stock that is a viable company, man, that is coming around. And now, who is it? I think Ozzy's working with, he's really hyping an Orange Dream hypo project. Thank you very much. I'll ride those coattails. So anyway,
right?
Yeah. Let me put these back, and then we'll talk about what I'm working with, or we'll get to your questions and stuff. Let me put these guys back real quick.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Normally, this part of the show is where the guests show off. Sometimes it's on feeding night, and, that happens. We all have our schedules. It's been nice to see, like, what Adam has produced this past year since I've been following him on social media. It's always nice to, see when people hit, that one clutch or two clutches where it's like, I proved out, and that type of thing where it's like, okay, that was sweet. I mean, it's really nice to see the highs, but again, we like seeing the lows because then it grounds us, and it brings us back to reality. Like the clutch I hit, the odds were incredible. So I paired a champagne pastel possible het lavender, that's irrelevant, to a normal possible het pipe. And I got 4 champagnes in combos. So I got a champagne pastel, 2
cool.
champagnes, a pastel, and a champagne 100% het pipe. It looks like a pipe. It's really wonky looking. And that one's going to Ozak because it is a boy. The other 4 are female.
Wow, nice.
So yeah, not only did that prove mom out to be het for pied.
Yep.
Dad proved everything. He was in every hatchling. So I mean, that was like wow for me. Like I was excited. I told the whole world. We popped the champagne.
Yeah.
But I understand that clutch could have been 100% all normals.
Yeah.
On the flip side.
Yeah.
So I got lucky, or spider gene complexes throw more. From the male, we'll throw more, visuals of the, champagne spider, that kind of thing.
I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that seems to flow in that seems to run in that project.
I will test it in 3 years because I think I'm keeping a champagne back because they have this really nice orange right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it was exciting. The whole world knows. It probably got annoyed with me, but yeah, I mean, it's. Wait till they shed, Jeremy. We went over that. It was a nice feeling. Actually got that first clutch, and then
oh man, he's pumped. Yeah, exactly.
And then I have I assume she's going into a prelay shed. It's a butter that was paired to a super pastel leopard butter. If I got that right. So I'm gonna get everything pastel. And half should be bells.
Yeah, you should get or 25%. Half of half. I think 25% will be bells.
Yeah, either way. I actually, what I really want is a female all gene that I can produce. I want the leopard butter pastel.
Yeah,
I can get that. That's the whole back. Everything else,
right?
Can fly. Yeah, I mean, it's insane for me to I started out one way and then, a year later I changed. Then I start following people on social media, change again. Then you come upon a chance snake and change again.
Well, I think that, so I take a little different approach on this than some people do, and maybe I'll change my tune one day. I've sort of taken the approach of certainly follow what you enjoy. And I think everybody says that, but I've always been told, you got to focus on one thing. You got to keep it narrow. You got to do this and that. If you have the time, the space, and the resources, focus on whatever you want, because that's going to keep you the most excited about it. You asked earlier, how do I make time for all this? Well, the first step is me being excited. If I'm disappointed that I can't work on something I want to be working on, I'm probably going to work less diligently at whatever I'm doing. So, and again, we all have different space. We all have different financial resources. I had some guests on my show a few weeks back. They spent $100,000 before they had one clutch.
Oh, that was the Crested Gecko.
Yeah, Flawless Exotic Creations, and more power to them. I'm not the dude with $100,000, and I realize where my limitations are. Up to other people, I seem like the dude with $100,000. So we're all on different. We're all on a different pace, and on our own thing. And it kind of goes back to the guitar stuff you talk about. Some of us start on Epiphones. Some of us, got a granddad that buys us a Martin. Okay, we're gonna find your way.
Yeah, but I mean, it's what you do with what you have.
That's right. That's
that-
right.
That's the way I look at it. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, in the, just taking that guitar allegory for me, I had what my parents were buying me,
Mm-hmm.
and I landscaping money. It's like, I finally got, a Squire
Right.
precision bass. Oh, cool. But to finally, get up to that point where I have the guitar that I like. I have 2, 3. I've Frankenstratted a couple with better pickups and whatnot. I found the tone and whatnot that I like over 20 years, something like that. I'm 33, so I have to do the math in my head of when I got the guitars initially. But it was a fight to be able to, get that. Same with the Reptiles. So, I mean, you can build yourself up to that point where you have nice stuff, or you can buy in initially. From a musician standpoint, it's your playing isn't going to change.
Right.
You have that innate ability to, you can hear stuff and just play, right? So you can, go through that with a crappy guitar or a good guitar.
Yeah, but I will say nice stuff inspires me to play sometimes. Like there's nights where like I just look at a guitar hanging on a wall and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm so like to what you're talking about. Like it's a 25-year journey to be able to own a guitar that I got hanging on my wall, and that's just mine. And I'm like, come here, I'm playing. Like and I don't want to, again, I won't turn it into like a nerdy music thing because I just can't explain it. But those minute differences, and I know car guys get it because you could have 2 of the same model year Mustang, and one of them's going to be more amazing to one driver than another. And guitars that the way the neck carve fits in your hand, or the bass tone comes through better than the highs, if that's your thing, or whatever it is, that gets me going. So the right instrument can inspire me. But yes, you're right. You got to put in your time on. You got to work at the craft, and that is universal. We got to work at the whether you spend $100,000 on ball pythons or whether you scrape together $160 and buy a couple normals or hets. You got to put the time into the craft and learn the craft. Absolutely.
And we'll put it back to cooking. Got to mix the right ingredients together.
Yeah, the most beautiful shun knife in the world ain't going to make your soup taste better unless you're using that tool properly with the craft that you've practiced and learned. Yeah. Phil goes, yeah, good guitars help a little bit. Yeah, they do. They do, man.
His guitar is insane.
I look forward to being able to jam with Phil. I can't hang with him, but I'll play rhythm all day. That's cool.
Yeah, I'll do my nice little slidey thing.
Right, yeah.
Open DAC or whatever, where every chord I play with the slide is.
Oh yeah, do the open tuning. Yeah.
There are ways around. When you're around a superior musician to be able to, budget, if you will.
Yeah, you add where you can and you shut up where you don't. And it's sort of the medical do no harm mindset. Like, okay, what's better for the song and what's better for the audience? That's what teams do all day long. Offensive linemen, sorry, man, you're probably not going to score the touchdowns, but you're very much needed,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So weird allegories and tangents about, taking all of our hobbies into this shared hobby. No, Adam and I do have, quite a bit of shared, hobbies with music, ball pythons, cooking, that sort of thing. So, I mean, it's really interesting for me to have people like Adam on here and pick their brains and, absorb that like a kitchen sponge. And yeah, I'm making puns. You said craft like 8 times,
That's right.
last minute and a half. So, so where do you, see, the future genetic wise or morph wise of ball pythons? Is there something that you want to add or you think people should add?
Man, the short answer is I have no earthly idea. I got no clue. In life, we sort of go through these like, hey, I like this. I know what's going on. And then you learn enough about something to realize you have no clue. and then the real journey starts where you really start to learn about something, right? So like, I just got past the point, or maybe in the past year, I got to the point where like, man, I thought I had this figured out, and now I'm like, I don't know. Here's what I think. I think it's a bigger market than I've been able to wrap my head around. There's a huge marketplace out there. So, and I knew that going on Morph Market. I knew that because Brian Barczyk has 3 million followers, and rationally, I know this. There's a market for everything. So if finances are important to your question, and they're not necessarily, but here's why I say that. Go with what you like. Go with what's exciting to you, because there'll be a market for either A, what you produce, or B, what you miss on to fund you doing what you want to do. So you can at least break even or not lose that much. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what I've come to believe and what I think is out there. So like, I can tell you what I'm excited about. I'm excited about Ultramel. I love Ultramel. I'm excited for that. I still adore pies. Like, I am like a kid in a candy shop holding up my pie, because I remember in college, like, I tell this story. I don't know if it was $100,000 or $1 million. It doesn't matter, because I was never going to have that much money for a pie. And now I'm making them. Like, it's mind boggling, you know?
So Adam, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When you first got in, did you think the high white pies were like the bee's knees? And then now it's the low white?
No. Well, no, I always, my high point was always like 50-50. I liked almost like if there was like a perfect polka dot of pies, I would love that. Now, yeah, low white is not too low, like 80% low.
More than just a ringer.
Yeah, like 80% low is primo for me. So I like those. I really like candy. I know other people, except for Charlie, some people roll their eyes at candy. For me, just a stunning visual animal. Candies are amazing. And I keep looking down because I always get asked. I have to keep a list now because I can never remember off the top of my head everything I'm working with. But somebody asked me on my own show, and I was like, so now I keep it. But
I do that too. It's like, because you continuously add more ingredients to these projects. It's like, yeah, I have that now.
Well, and that's the other part of why when people are like, you can only focus on one thing, I'm like, they're all going to overlap. They're all going to be in the proper Royals project. That's what, like I want to, and I do. So what gets me going, what gets me like excited for the long run is double, triple recessives. For some reason, I just get a bigger kick out of recessives by and large. Like, I think Leopard's amazing. I love Acid, which is pretty close to Leopard, admittedly. And she does amazing things, of course. But I think Pied is just more awe-inspiring than Leopard is. And I think it always will be. I think Clown, plain old Clown, is more awe-inspiring than Enshi. So I like the recessive projects. Where it'll go, what's hot, I'm not your stock picker. I couldn't tell you, man. Don't listen to me. I don't know.
Yeah, at this point, I'm crazy because I think now I'm into 6 or 7 recessive projects.
Yeah.
In this many snakes.
Right. That's how I am now. I made a conscious effort to try and invest in visual females. And I'm at that point now where they're mostly breeder size. So I've got 18 or 20 pairings coming up this like in 3 weeks kind of deal.
Yeah, that's creeping up sooner.
Yeah. Right. It's right there. But every one of them are either het or visual. So every one of them have a recessive component to them. I have 2 breeder females. They're for sale on Morph Market that are not het or recessive component. Maybe I'll breed them to make some hets, but I probably won't breed them. And like I say, they're for sale, so if I can sell them, I'll send them down the line first.
Yeah. So for me, all the single gene, 2 gene codom, incomplete dominant females.
Yep.
Once they breed and make, I get that het ingredient in there.
Right.
Wait a year, do
That's
it again.
Yep.
Because then I will have that, the male and the female.
Yep.
2-3 years from now. Once that happens, they're gone.
Yep.
They're replaced with better stock. So I mean that's how I'm doing it with this small collection. I realize my whole back rack will, take up, half my plate.
Yeah.
But so I'll be like this coming year, in the fall I'm doing double head ultramel pies.
Oh, cool.
A bunch of head ultramel stuff. Some clown possible head hypo stuff. So there's a lot of doubles and possible triple heads that I can be working with. And
Yeah.
next year, I mean, this is where I have to find some females because I'm a member of Antoine and High Desert Python's Patreon. And
Okay.
I won a giveaway for the VIP members, and I'm getting a Lemon Blast Enhanced DG 100% het clown possible het G stripe.
Woo. Hello.
Yeah. So that I mean, I don't have a DG or enhancer anywhere or G stripe. So I mean, it's something that's like, okay, that changes how I'm viewing things, and I need to get sub adults or breeders to jump into that project. So I mean, that I was lucky enough to get that animal. It's insane.
Well, and that's a great example of, I tell people, like, opportunities are going to come along that are going to cause a swerve in your projects or your program. Bad things are going to happen. You're going to, the other snake that I bought in the Chick-fil-A parking lot, that proved out to be nothing but normal when I was sold to me as a double het.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're going to learn. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be amazing opportunities that happen. There's going to be positive surprises that come along, and you just got to stay a little bit flexible or find ways to maximize those. So maybe you sell it and fund other good things. You got to make the best of the best and minimize the worst, basically.
Oh, I went from having maybe 1 or 2 holdbacks from this clutch to they're all gone.
Yeah, right.
The tire is gone. Mom is 100% hide now, so I mean, clearly she can stay. She's going to go to my buddies to get paired to a Firefly visual pied male. So half that clutch should be visual pies, one would assume, or 25. I forget what the odds are. Kai can, he's the odds guy. But so I mean, that one has a place here now. It didn't before when it wasn't proven. So I mean, do I get out of some of these other projects I'm in with lizards and whatnot? Probably. I can always buy bearded dragons, 10 years down the road.
That's
if I want
true.
to.
And I talk about the time, the money, and the space equation. It's a 3-way intersection that every one of us have a different set of circumstances. Yeah. Yep.
Lizards take, enclosures like this.
Right.
That. So, I mean, I'm playing that game. Now, hopefully in the next couple of years, I can move and get a house and I won't have to deal with, that issue.
Yep. So what's our, we got 4 good minutes?
We got 5 minutes and 5 questions.
Okay.
So
we can do quick fire. I'm not good at quick fire, but I'm going to
focus.
focus.
It's a speed round.
I'll stay right on it. No rambling.
This is what happens on a Craft Brew show. We talk about everything, for 85 minutes and then have to end the show really quickly.
Rock and roll. I feel good about it. Let's do it.
All right. So, fire round. Where do you see yourself in 5 years as a ball python breeder?
In 5 years, I hope I'm prominent. I hope I'm hoping that it's a primary source of revenue, and I hope that I have a balance of show presence, like in-person shows, reptile shows presence, Morph Market, social media, and then hopefully projects for customers that say, Adam, I know you're sort of specializing in this. I'd like to have I'm interested in this.
Find your niche.
Right.
Like Courtney and Steven with the Sunset Project. Also, congrats to them. They're probably not watching, but if you
Just
are,
nailed it. Yeah.
So you mentioned shows. Are there anything aside from like Daytona that you plan on attending or vending in Florida?
Yeah, I'm working on, and we don't have the time, and I don't know what stage it's at. I may very well partner with somebody to sell some of their goods as well as mine. And I just have to leave it there. It's an opportunity that it's an opportunity I'm pursuing. I don't know if it's available to me, but it's one of those, you may as well ask. The worst you could get told is no.
Hey, can I shadow you? And I have 5 snakes I want to sell at your table.
Something like that. Yeah. And this exists. Somebody else is already doing it, but they're stepping away from it. So I'll just leave it there. But if that happens, I'd be into Jacksonville, Tampa, Orlando, Repticons, as well as Daytona. So it'd be a nice entry to that world for me.
All right. So where can people find you on social media?
And my favorite place you can find me is YouTube, Proper Royals. And I got to say thank you to Kike. Man, what a amazing dude for the
super support.
Yeah, amazing support. He put a link up earlier for mine, but Proper Royals, anywhere you find Proper Royals is me. So YouTube's my favorite. Instagram, I'm very active on daily, and then Facebook kind of gets the repost from Instagram.
I don't think I had that link because Facebook's hard to find.
That's okay. Proper Royals anywhere. TikTok as well. I just made myself refocus on TikTok because at some point I'm going to get what's the saying? Old and in the way. I'm going to get old and in the way at some point.
All right, everybody drink Grateful Dead reference.
That's right. You see how I did that there? The punk rock kid with the Grateful Dead reference. But all joking aside, I got to get sort of literate in TikTok is what I've forced myself to try.
Yeah, I feel like now it's like reels, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't mind me if I'm off screen trying to sign into YouTube to get Jeremy's link to send everybody over there. Any final words for the chat?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thanks to your audience. If there's new people that I got to meet tonight, I hope I get to see you again. Kent, it's always a pleasure hanging out with you. It's cool to it's great. What a great time to be alive. Like we got buddies in, 1,000 miles away that literally I never could have connected with before this time in our lives and in our world. So I'm happy.
Definitely. I mean, prior to like this type of thing, I mean, we may have crossed paths at a, Trampled by Turtle show at Red Rock.
Yeah, the show.
Like that.
Exactly,
I'm rocking a shirt that says Ball Pythons. You're rocking your shirt.
Yeah.
You deal with that. So, I mean, it's really cool that, the world is huge, but, small, and we can have nights like this where, I'm talking to somebody in Florida that's, 2 days drive away that I hope to meet in person.
Absolutely. I do too.
Lay down some licks.
I think I'll be up next summer at Jeremy's barbecue is the goal. We'll see. But that's the tentative plan at the moment.
All right.
Hey, but seriously though, thank you so much. I wish you awesome on your channel and your journey. And it's been nothing but support from you. And I hope I can reciprocate the same, man.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you again for coming on. I know, scheduling kind of, we dropped the idea a couple weeks ago and then we're here. It was a great show. I learned a lot and we've hit that 8 o'clock mark. So thank you again. Thank you, chat. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe to both of us. And go check out Jeremy Warfel. He's got Awesome from Royal Highness Pythons on his channel. So if you like that mutation creation stuff, that Ultramel everything, you'll enjoy that live. Thanks again. I appreciate all of you. Adam, once again, thank you for coming on. It's been a blast of 90 minutes, and we used up almost all of it.
We'll do it again. Let's do it again.
All right, we can do that.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Yep.